Hello, everyone, and welcome. It's the Summit 3 presented by GoDz China Qualifier, and we have finally made it here into the final series, a best-of-3 matchup of LGD Gaming taking on EHOME. And, well, this is not the first time these two teams have squared up. They just met in the winner bracket semifinal in what had to be one of the fastest best-of-3s I've ever casted. It was me and Puppy, and it was like an hour long. Game 2 ended in 13 minutes, so you can expect that maybe that series had a bit of influence on the current betting odds. Well, I'm going to be KotLGuy bringing you the action here from beyond the summit, but I'm not going at it alone. Believe it or not, joining me remotely, I got none other than Mr. David Paka. GoDz, how you doing, buddy? Do you agree with the odds that it's 75-25 for LGD?
I think LGD have some, at least, momentum coming in, but I don't know about 75%. That is some one-sided odds coming out from the bettors here, but either way, I'm excited. By the end of tonight, we know which Chinese team is going to join Vici Gaming coming to the LAN finals. I think LGD, I would say more like 65-35.
Yeah, we'll have to see which squad's going to roll up here into the BTS house, probably play a lot of FIFA, have a hard time interacting with. We'll have to find out, but it's going to be a lot of fun nonetheless. These guys can play Dota, and it would be a privilege to be able to meet any of these Dota legends right here. I mean, EHOME is a star-studded cast of, I believe, like, the majority of this group used to be known as, like, the old gods or the old boys, the old men. They're kind of like the Ocean's 11 of Dota almost. I mean, ROTK and Flame. Lanham, of course, is a legendary support player in his own right. And then they got some, like, young blood. They got some great carrying potential there in ZYF. He's really strutted his stuff, shown phenomenal morphling, jug throughout the tournament so far. And then you got LGD, you know, one of the most prestigious names in Dota. And you got your director, Mr. Zhao Wei. Sylar, he may fall, but he can definitely carry a team if he needs to, and I'm just real excited. This is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm really curious to see how this series is going to pan out, because I said before, the last time they met, I don't know if you got to see it, GoDz, but it was just ridiculous. They were just like butting heads, and they wanted to see who was going to cave first. The draft would fly by. They would just, it was just very uncharacteristic. They were ready to brawl, and when they're like, you know what, we got our ass beat enough, we're just going to call it here. And then the game was over. It was absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I called those games a few days later, and I was a bit surprised by just how one-sided they were. But I imagine EHOME will come into this best-of-5 a bit more prepared. They'll look back on those games, kind of see where maybe some things went wrong, adjust their draft accordingly, and, well, we'll see how the draft unravels here. So it's going to be a first-pick sniper from LGD Gaming, Queen of Pain coming out from EHOME. No Troll.
Where's
picked
Troll?
or banned yet.
Where's Troll?
Okay.
What is going on? Maybe these teams made a silent agreement with each other, and they're like, listen, we're not going to pick Troll. You're not going to pick Troll. We're just going to ignore the hero, because, you know, people were, like, throwing it out already that the hero has, like, a 100% pick and ban rate, more often banned than not, but it's just, that starts to raise a flag amongst the whole Dota community and hopefully the Valve crew, and we'll have to see. And it still continues to be ignored here, as EHOME are going to pick up an early morphling. And now this is something, ever since the strength morphling has begun to come back into the limelight here for more of the teams, is if you pick this hero up early, you can really control a draft. I mean, now you're looking at it and it's like, we don't know where this is going to go. If we tried to influence our own draft to counter this pick, you could end up biting yourself, you know, or, you know, shooting yourself in the foot, because the strengths are good counters to a strength morphling is going to be a problem for the agility morphling and such and so forth. Like, for example, you know, back in the day, Elder Titan was always picked up to go against agility morphling. Well, if you get an Elder Titan here, the strength morphling has no problem with that. He really has no armor to really worry about, and then you can just use the replicate, and you suddenly have natural order on your own side. So I was curious if teams were going to start picking up morphling early and then deciding whether or not they're going to change its position later on.
And funnily enough, it was the LGD Gaming side who put out the AA, which is one of the better counters to the morphling in general, be it a support morphling or offlane morphling or a carry morphling. The one time EHOME have run this year in the last kind of like week or so was as a farming role against IG when they managed to 2-0 IG the other day. So I would lean more towards the farming morphling, but kind of like you said, it's flexible. It doesn't really reveal too much because you can put in that offlane role. You can put in that support role if you want to, but I think kind of looking at history, it is more likely to be that safe lane farming morphling. And great against the right-click heroes. Great against the sniper. They'll maybe worried about a troll coming out as a second pick. And if you go troll sniper, a lot of right-click physical damage, Morphling has some of the best just armor growth in the game because of the nature of this hero and how much agi he gains. He suddenly has like 15, 20, 25 armor in a late game setting just by his sheer basic items. So he actually matches up pretty well against these sniper troll type heroes because of that.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely a lot of characteristics there with regardless what Morphling it ends up being that could work very nicely in a game like this. That gap closing capability is one of the big things that pops out to me, and getting hold of that pesky little sniper, whether it's on one side where you just want to be there to really lock him down and abuse that ridiculous stun, or if you're just kind of there to get in his face and dish out that serious right click. And GoDz, I'm just assuming they made an agreement, because otherwise we're about to witness history with this troll being completely ignored. So I'm assuming, and they talked a lot in the lobby. Unfortunately, I don't speak the language, but I'm assuming they came to an agreement that there will be no troll played today, because this is just out of control right here. But anyways, moving on forward, Rubik now going to get picked up here, and Rubik's one of those supports that could be very nice against the Morphling, so maybe there's a small bit of influence that they want to take that option away from LGD. I mean, we know MMY can play a solid Morphling, but same goes for the side of EHOME. They have Lanham, who's been playing it a lot as of recent, and he still has plenty of tools to work with here, being able to pretty much steal anything from Lina. Hell, he would even mind picking up the Assassinate there from Sniper, but they like to play this hero pretty aggressive. You'll see a lot of early movement here and looking to kind of get things set up. And Telekinesis I almost consider like the poor man Yules, and it could certainly help out whoever they get as his potential +1.
Yeah. I think it's a solid overall pick here. Even Nullfield, one of those really underrated spells. You've got decent magic damage coming out from your Lina, your Sniper Shrapnel being magic damage, and LG Gaming, I think, seeing this and just the general play coming out from EHOME, they're going to pick up the Venge here. So they want to get some right-click damage and some ability to take Roshan in the mid-game here, so they get the Venge for some minus armor to also boost up their physical damage. But still, kind of as mentioned earlier, Morphling not going to be too bothered by this. If anything, the Lina pick is largely designed to be able to burst down that Morphling kind of around that mid-game stage, maybe even be played as a core, although it seems most teams in China are at least preferring to run that Lina as that full position support.
We could see an Axe pickup here if this is just going to be your standard carry Morphling. That's another one of the heroes that surprisingly has been ignored up to this point. And Jug as well. You know, these were the, Jug, Sniper, Troll, and Axe. That was like the big four. And we're seeing the majority of those heroes ignored up to this point. It's actually a nice breath of fresh air. And now we get to see Tidehunter, a hero that pretty much everyone outside of the Chinese scene have just decided they don't care for anymore. But over here, ROTK loves his Tidehunter. He is the captain, and if he feels like he's going to go ahead and rep it, he'll do it. And in their matchup just yesterday, when they went toe-to-toe with Hyperglory Team, he landed some phenomenal ravages. He got a nicely timed, early arcane boot into the blink dagger, and then the refresher there at the end. And he showed how much a Tidehunter can still bring to the table as far as team fight goes. So they get him there. They don't have to worry about the Rubik on the other team. And well, just before I can even finish talking, there's going to be the Jug now picked up on LGD.
Yeah, to me, it's just one of ROTK's quintessential heroes at this point. He plays it a lot. He's comfortable on it. It gives him the team fight they were kind of missing out on. The Queen of Pain alone is some good burst damage, but needs that good setup and that big ultimate maybe to fight around, which it seems EHOME like to use, and well, the title will offer them that. So we'll see what the last pick's going to be. Jug, Venge, good physical damage. We've got Sniper and Jug is kind of your 1-2 punch. It looks like that puts Lina onto the support role. All LG Gaming still missing is going to be their offlaner, which at this point is somewhat limited because your big ones have been taken or banned out. The Tide's gone, the Clockwork banned out. As is the Phoenix now, so options a bit more limited as far as that offlane is concerned for LGD.
There's still Bristleback, and there's still that Axe I was saying before, so we could potentially see that, but they do need, I would say one of those two would be top candidates. They need a beefy frontliner to help out with someone like a Sniper who's trying to just kind of, steer in the back and just dish out as much damage as possible without really getting into the real fray of the fight. So, and you already have Lina and Vengeful Spirit. These ladies, they can be pretty frail in their own right, so they've been a bit of meat. They're actually going with a Night Stalker here, who isn't typically good on his own in the off lane, so we could potentially either see an aggro or maybe some dual lanes come out from LGD. That's a very interesting one, but he's been very good for a lot of the teams. Like EG have recently picked it up in conjunction with like a Zeus, where you just want more presence in the map, be more controlling, dominating. And when you have heroes like Tidehunter, Sand King, hell, even Queen of Pain, Morphling, these are heroes who need to initiate and like close that gap to just get into the fight. Well, when you can't see a whole lot because of that darkness, then it becomes a bit of a problem. So I really love this late Night Stalker grab.
Well, we did it. We've managed to beat the odds. Troll Warlord picked or banned 100% of games since March 30th.
This is history.
That changes.
This is history, people. Take it in, all right? I don't know, in 300 pro matches, that's what someone threw out on the Reddit about, you know, the statistic odds there, but this is it. It sounds like these two teams have said, listen, we're fed up with the troll as well here. We're not even going to touch it. You don't touch it, we don't touch it. Let's just move on and play some good Dota. And you know what? I welcome it. I certainly
So basically, we don't need a new patch. Everything's fine. The hero is not as bad as people are saying.
Yeah, we'll just ignore it. We'll just ignore it, and maybe it'll go away.
Yep. Valve can extend their holidays in Hawaii for another week for all we can now with Troll gone.
Yeah, please. And then watch them like sub in someone else ridiculous. Then Earthspear kind of steps in, and we're like, okay, we'll have more heroes to ignore, I guess, from here on out. But
yep.
We'll start things off like we always do with a pause. No, but you know, they'll wait it out here for now. It's a little bit of a hiccup to hopefully we get underway. Maybe more bathroom breaks are necessary. Of course, people, apologies on the bit of a tardy start. You know, we had to make sure everyone had their ducks in a row. Players were all groomed and ready. The air conditioning was at an appropriate level for them. The chairs were at the right height, good squishiness. Maybe they needed an extra pad. Their mouse was adjusted. You know, these kind of things, God, so you can play your best possible Dota in the finals. So,
I mean, for us casters, it's simple. Just give us a computer and give us a Red Bull or two, and I'm happy. I'm good to go. And well, we're just waiting for the teams, unfortunately.
All right. So now that we've seen the draft at hand, we got our full 5-on-5 spread. We didn't really get to talk a whole lot about EHOME's last pick, which they decided to go with the Sand King. I was anticipating Lanham playing the role of more of a support Rubik, but he's going to be taking the role of the more greedy support here. And we just don't see this hero quite enough. The only time I've seen it come up as of recent, teams have been experimenting or rolling with the off-lane Sand King. But here they're kind of going back a few pages, or you know, maybe back a couple of metas, you could say, and bringing him back, but who can really offer a lot as far as team fight. I mean, this is potential wombo combo in the making here, GoDz, yep, for EHOME. This could be something of note, and seeing a hero like this gets me really excited. Him, Magnus, Enigma, Tidehunter. These get me excited as a caster, and I'm sure it gets a lot of people excited as a viewer. And actually, I'm going to take this brief moment to do a DC and a reconnect. I'm getting just little bits of lag hiccups, so okay, I'll hop back in. Make sure you let me know if we miss anything, though. I don't think we will.
Seems to be on the clear here. Just some early warding. Both teams kind of scout each other out a bit, so nothing too crazy. I think the one nice thing about the Sand King pick is often, I think, Tidehunter, one of his biggest weaknesses that we see with a lot of teams is that you have to fight around his ultimate cooldown, and as soon as you use that Ravage, the other team can then take Roshan, take towers, go for a push. But Sand King gives you that team fight or that good initiation such that you're not as reliant on the Tide Ravage to start off a fight or to have a really big ulti, and then when it's down, it still feels like EHOME can team fight. Not even just because of Epi's but just Blink Burrow Strike being a good AoE stun, good gap closer onto your sniper, on some of these squishy supports. You can initiate on someone like a Jug before you can Blade Fury. Gives you some good initiation tools there. So
the battle begins.
We'll see the horn go, and well, it doesn't look like you're missing out on too much early action.
I'm already back in and ready to go. So before the action does happen, let's just quickly fire through some introductions here. I'll do the pleasure of introducing Radiant side. We got EHOME here in Flame, who's going to be playing your mid lane Queen of Pain. Nearby, we got Lanham playing your Sand King, who's been blocking the mid lane for him. Along the off lane, we got the drafter and captain, Mr. ROTK, playing your Tidehunter. He's going to be actually holding one sentry on hand here, but he went right for those boots. Along the bottom, we got DDC, who's going to be stopping that range creep from pushing ahead. Very nicely done there. He's got your Rubik, and, well, just behind him, we got ZYF, who's going to be playing that core agility Morphling.
Well, for your Dire side, Yao at bottom lane. He's going to get initiated on. He's playing your off lane Night Stalker, but very tanky hero. Stout Shield, lots of regen. Won't be going down to this 2-hero combo. We'll get harassed and zone out of the lane. Elsewhere on the LG side, mid lane's going to be maybe on the Sniper. In the jungle for now, Zhao 8 on the support Vengeful Spirit. Up top, it's going to be MMY playing the Lina. And it's going to be Syla playing the Juggernaut LGD.
And I was expecting possibly duels here for LGD because this is where Night Stalker can run into some problems. Similar to the way like we used to see like an Omni Knight kind of billion offlaner. This is just where they get punished very easily, and they just have to come into here expecting that they're going to be, you know, eating a lot of this. I mean, just look at DDC. Just get the hell back. I mean, what are you thinking? You're a Night Stalker. It's daytime. What are you going to do, boy? What are you going to do? So he just has to kind of chew through these tangos right now, and he's already down to one tango left in the south, but it's going to be a tough time early on, and when you're not really getting a whole lot, you might not be ready at that level you'd like to be when the 4-minute strikes and the first nightfall will come.
And the thing you mentioned, like just the small thing of Rubik tanking the creep so that the range creep doesn't die first coming out, that makes a big difference for this lane. It means Yao is not getting any XP. It pushed out really far, and he can't pull the way back. He's a Night Stalker. He has no way to really get XP out of this lane, so a small thing like that, and this is how you win your safe lane. DDC will now control the runes. Yao can just stack Ancients. Very little he can do now that play has happened, and Sandking can just stack the jungle. He doesn't actually have to help zone it all in the lane. He's just been busy doing his own thing. And it looks like actually Sandking Rubik going to go for an early smoke gank. Night Stalker's thinking, okay, I'm kind of getting zoned out here. There's a Rubik illusion still down here, which he doesn't know is an illusion, and suddenly there's going to be a real Rubik and Sand King popping up in lane.
Yeah, this is an awesome play. Normally, you know, your Sand King not looking to get too involved early with this bloodshed, but this could really catch him off guard. I mean, they just know Lamb's been off the radar this whole point, but like you said, they don't know where that Rubik is. They could think for all that, you know, he's in the lane. I mean, look at him. It's an illusion. Yeah, it's like,
and it's scouted up by a ward and everything. So it's spotted by the ward, so they really think it's maybe real here, but Zhao 8 comes in, he'll actually reveal the smoke gank. Oh,
but they might turn it on to him. They get the telekinesis. Lamb's going to wait out a bit before the burrow strikes there, but do they have enough to bring him down? They do with Inflame. She steps in, Shadow Strike, right click. It's going to be Lanham who secures the first blood, and that means EHOME will be striking first here in Game 1 of the finals.
Yep, that's a good quick pickup for EHOME. The one struggle for them as far as getting off to a really good start now is going to be getting Lanham his level 3. That's when you can really start jungling using your Sandstorm, and he's got very little XP so far. Not something that's going to change unless he starts leeching the bottom lane or going for that safe lane creep pull, which he may have to do. Like, he can keep stacking for now, but he's not farming the jungle until he hits level 3. Level 1 Sandstorm just doesn't cut it. So that's going to be the one challenge for them, is finding a way to get up to that point. But once they've got that, I think EHOME's early game is looking really solid.
Yeah, they're off to a pretty impressive start. I mean, for LGD, though, their Jug in the top lane here, Sylar, currently the head of CS, 21, but also 11 denied. He's really taking it to EHOME, but it is ROTK on a Tidehunter, so he can always kind of get some Ancients stacked up, look to fall back on that later, as he just helps keep an eye on the Bounty Rune here in the top lane for now and helps out in Flame. But it's going to be a slow start for both offlaners, so I guess they're relatively even there. And well, here's 4 minutes. It's now nighttime. Night Stalker can kind of feel better about being close to the lane as he's gained that additional move speed, and now he has a bit of extra nuke power to work with. I mean, we'll see if he just kind of holds down the fort here for now, but ooh, dancing nearby. Lanham with that haste rune, thinking about making a quick go, and it looks like it's going to have to keep Yao in check at least for now. But mid lane, Zhao 8, he's hanging nearby. Maybe they're going to get something on Inflame, but they'll need a lot of lockdown to stop Queen of Fame from blinking away, and it looks like nothing's going to be really coming of it. Plus, you got to consider they actually have this ward here. They know Zhao 8's nearby, and this is going to be thwarted.
Yeah. Just securing the sniper to at least prevent that same smoke king from happening towards the mid lane, and make sure that maybe has that protection should Inflame try and get a grade. If Inflame blinks forward, he's just straight up dead for magic missiles trap. It's a play that sometimes Queen of Pains look to make when they're in a straight up 1v1. They can blink to the higher gun and start trading right clicks. But not going to see that happen.
Lift onto Yao. Yeah, they pull him right back, the waveform forward, but it's not quite enough. I mean, there's a pretty meaty hero here in Night Stalker.
I think just some casual harass. Morphling was full mana, so it doesn't really it does cost him his salve, but this is a salve we want to use and shoot through anyways. And meanwhile, Lamb on the Sand King getting his level 3 in the jungle with a Mud Golem camp. So good stuff. Good play coming out from him.
Top lane, we have Zhao 8 plants a pretty aggressive ward here behind the tower. They have eyes for ROTK. He heads back. Zhao 8 doesn't want to be caught out. Ooh, very close. I don't know if he actually scouted it or not. And now he definitely did. Zhao 8 walks in, gives him a magic missile right to the face, but he's just a little too deep, and they can't run past the tower to get a hold of him. So it looks like they'll just turn their aggression towards the tower itself, try to get some early pot shots in, and hopes of bringing down a tower nice and early to get that bit of an economy boost. But ROTK will avoid potential danger. This has been Zhao 8 really waiting out and trying to get something started for his team, but they are just always caught in a bit of a rut. But as I say that, here's Yao suddenly from the bottom lane. He also wants to get in on this ROTK lovin'.
It's like kind of the only move he kind of can make at this point. This bottom lane is just proving too difficult to get anything out of, so making a kind of smart move to try and transition, but well, maybe gonna find the kill here. They got the magic missile, and there we go. They won't even need the jug. They'll get the kill on your Tidehunter and look to follow this up with that tier 1 tower.
Inflame is nearby, has Sonic Wave, but no one's really low enough. Maybe could get Xiao Wave, but it's just too risky. You risk jumping in and getting silenced right away, getting stunned, and they'll just have to sack the tower, it looks like. And like you said, a very good pick right there is, your Night Stalker is able to get involved. The slow is just so good. He's able to walk up to him and just kind of body block him a bit to secure the easy magic missile. So LGD's patience finally does work, and they're able to kind of even things up 1-1 for now. And we'll touch base here with Lanham as he does plant down a ward here in the bottom of the river, give him a bit of vision, and he just kind of continues to go back to work farming up in the jungle, but he quickly has about 1,400 gold.
Oh yeah, he finally got his level 3 and then farmed up the triple stack over to the right side of the jungle, so he just got his first stack there. This second big stack is going to get him up to maybe like 1,700-1,800, and he'll have a 9-10 minute blink dagger at this rate. This is a pretty scary timing coming out for your Sand King with the good start he had. He did pick up the first blood, so you should expect him to get a good blink timing, but the stall came from getting his level 3, which did take 6 minutes plus to get that level 3.
I'm doing another quick DC Reese. For some reason, the laggy hiccups came back. Folks, we've been having pretty good luck throughout this bracket, but sometimes it's just the inevitable. Perfect world with their firewall and all. I mean, we're back in it now, and it looks good again. Hopefully, you don't have to do too much of that, but there's, coming from New York City, trying to battle your way through the great firewall of perfect world, sometimes this stuff happens. But here we go. We catch action mid lane here as Inflame does jump in onto Yao, and he's going to try to TP away, but you can't get away from the Sonic Wave. Inflame's able to bring him down, and that's going to be your second blood now for EHOME. And Inflame off to a nice promising start. He didn't even have to use the haste he has bottled up. He already has his treads complete, and, well, he's off to a pretty sharp start on this Queen of Pain.
Yeah. Does probably, I don't know about worth it for the Night Stalker, but it's good that the Queen of Pain ultimate gets put on cooldown. Makes it a bit safer for the sniper to stay mid lane, since that bit of burst damage is missing. But from Night Stalker's point of view, obviously not wanting to go down there. But bottom lane, now we're seeing the same play we saw LGD make at the top lane, where EHOME are going to pressure this tier 1, but LGD much more prepared to rotate in here to defend this one. They bring in the vent, wave a terror to draw the aggro off, and not going to be easy to push down this tier 1 tower, even with the Ring of Aquila or up on ZYF's Morphling.
Yeah, they're going to have to take it slow here. Don't want to get too itchy to try to get this tower down. But the nice thing for them is they did get the Imba ward, if you will. And just as I pointed out, quickly Xiao Wade's there to counter it. So he'll take it down. That ward is just so huge for your Radiant side. You can see the TPs come in. You can see people potentially even smoking in from behind the tower. And, well, with that now removed, EHOME are going to be a little bit in the dark and can't feel as comfortable trying to push forward for the tower. But we could see some aggression here towards the mid lane as MMY and Xiao Wade are looking to come together. That ward is still there. It's got a couple of seconds left, but that's just every little bit of intel EHOME are happy to take in to see where the movement of these supports are going and really what to anticipate coming their way.
Yeah, they do see the ward expire in front of them, so you get that little death animation when wards expire. So they'll realize, oh crap, we're being scattered out. They know we're there, and maybe adjust their next moves accordingly. But is this smoke coming out in the courier? So may see a smoke come out here. Double Mask of Man is picked up at the same time on the dire side, so Jug can accelerate his farm in the jungle. Sniper, similarly in the mid lane, can kind of accelerate his farm, but also just offer a lot more to his team with this pickup.
Yeah, maybe he's been pretty quiet to this point, but now with all this huge attack speed, that's when things can get pretty nice for your sniper. But this is a smoke kink coming out. Looks like Siler would love to use an Omni Slash if he can. They see the Sandstorm to dish out the wave. They're even going to drop the sentry. They're committing. Landon Burrows strike just a little too early to try to get away, but he does manage to make it out. But oh my god, that's all on for nothing.
Replicate.
Is the Replicate's going to be eating all the damage. Nicely baited there from ZYF. That is 2 big ultimates down, and that hits him hard. LGD, they're not going to be happy about that one.
Oh, they really want the Sand King too. He was like 20 gold short of this Blink Dagger. Now he picks up from the side job. He's ready with a Blink Initiation. This could be a kill coming in the way of EHOME. Should LGD... They need to just let this tower go, I feel. They are not ready to defend this.
No, not with all those big bursty ultimates not being ready to go, and that they're going to heed your advice. They let the tower drop. They'll pull back in a way. They quickly send Siler back to the top lane to continue his farming grace, and it's EHOME who looking pretty damn sharp at this point. Siler is your top of the net worth right now with about 5,300 on net worth, but just behind him is ZYF and the Morphling. You know, it's a Morphling after all. He's just going to need to wait this out. If he's able to get involved and get a couple of kills, that's great, but he's got items, he's got a quota to meet, and it looks like he's going to be going down that usual Morphling checklist. He's got the Ring of Health on hand as he goes towards the Perseverance, then, you know, eventually the Lincoln Sphere. And he's just going to have to take a little bit of that sweet time. But EHOME are the ones right now who can easily control the pace of this game, and I think that they're just kind of going in good timing here. Lanham is got his Blink Dagger ready to go. He's already got the smoke back at home to really debut it. And we could see EHOME just slowly trying to build up a bit of a snowball here.
Oh yeah, I think for EHOME they're just going to look at this Morphling and say Morphling is on track to become that late game threat. As a hero, Morphling is going to scare... going to be a lot more versatile than a Jug going towards the late game just because of the hero's ability to just... I guess both can kind of burst down kills really quickly, but as far as how the two match up head-to-head, it feels like Morphling has the slight edge there. But the X-Factor can come from some of the other heroes. The Sniper is on the Dire side. The Queen of Pain we've seen kind of get on the scoreboard at least now so far with the 1 kill and the 1 assist, and it looks like they want to keep that play up. They actually Smokers 5 EHOME. This is going to get to a point where it's a bit too obvious. They blink Burrow Strike mid lane. Yao going to get initiated on. The Light Strike array off the mark, and Yao actually maybe back to safety. 5 hero smoke, and they don't get the kill off of it. Yao just too tanky.
Yep. Unfortunately, the stars don't align for him. But here's suddenly a Zhao Wade appears, gets off a wave, and he might have... Yep, he just walks into trouble. And I don't know what the thought was there. He's not near any of his friends, and it looks like EHOME are going to be able to walk away with at least something after that smoke gank movement. So they're happy about that one. They pull ahead now 3-1. And they're still in pretty good standing. ROTK, he's not going to be rushing for the Blink Dagger. This is, I believe, what we saw from him yesterday in his Tidehunter. He's going to step off and get the mech first and foremost. I mean, he is the best candidate on the team to pick up a mech, but they put more value into him getting that mech as opposed to just having the Blink Dagger ready to go. That could be because maybe, you know, they already have Lanham with his own Blink Dagger. He could take the role of Initiator, and he'll be able to walk in and still get the Ravage.
I think it's a big part of it. They're actually a lot scary if they're team fighting and 5-manning with a mech on tide than a Blink, since they've got a Sand King with a Blink, and even just in general, like that's what's going to keep them alive and negate a lot of the damage coming out from the Jug Omni Slash. This also gives armor, the Shrapnel AoE damage, and the Lina nukes, so it is going to be a nice pickup that I don't think LGD will be really prepared for. They can try and burst down single target focus one hero to kind of bypass the mech, but that's about all they're going to do. It feels like EHOME are going to come out on top of any straight on team fight during the time that this mech is online for at least the first 5-10 minutes.
So it's looking like a pretty strong early game so far for EHOME, and they're just kind of holding it right here. It's more pressure towards LGD to get something done, and well, as I say that, they're already smoked up and on the move. They're going to be heading through the EHOME territory here, but there's not quite an easy target nearby. It looks like for EHOME, they're mostly congregated towards this mid lane, so a jump onto them could lead to a quick counter fight, as they're even possibly baiting out this Queen of Pain. If they get a jump on this Queen of Pain, which they could, they'll see it. This is going to be another unfortunate circumstance, but the smoke doesn't pop, so they know that. They're like, okay, it's not the real one. Good, they do wait with a bit of patience here, and they're going to be fine. But the smoke does eventually end. They still take it to the Replicate with a magic missile and maybe take it down out of frustration, as the smoke gank will not lead to any sort of takedowns.
Unfortunately for them, like they knew ROTK was at these Ancients. They saw him de-ward. They had an Observer Ward blocking the spawn, but they can't get to the Ancients from the Radiant jungle. Unless that T1 tower's down, you can't swing through from this Radiant jungle into the other side of the map towards the Ancients without getting revealed. So it was just like an awkward smoke gank for that reason. Unless they found someone in the EHOME jungle, they weren't going to find any kills. And EHOME had 3 heroes around that mid-tier 1. They had tied to the Ancients. They did not expose anyone for a kill. But LGD say, well, you guys are going to stay on your side of the map or far away from your own jungle. We're going to take advantage of this. And not even really sneak erosion. They just walk in and just take this with ease.
Yeah, I mean, there's no vision over here whatsoever for EHOME. They did the proper thing by placing down the preemptive sentry to remove any of that vision if it was there, and it turns out to be a pretty easy roach. And like you said, it doesn't even need to be too sneaky. I don't think EHOME are going to be too deterred by this. You know, at that same moment, we had ROTK who was farming up the Ancients, and he was able to complete his mechanism. So he'll walk back, pick that up, grabs up a smoke as well, but immediate pressure towards their mid lane here, as LGD are looking to take a tier 1 on top of him. We could see EHOME put up a bit of defense here. They're going to smoke, and there's going to be the epicenter. Lamb's looking to jump in, moves on forward, gets a nice stun as he does connect on the Sylar, gets lifted thereafter, will go down. That's your Aegis. Laguna to fly to ROTK as he walks on forward, gets the Ravage, finishes off Zhao Wei. They're able to get the Sonic Wave and take down MMY as well. or sorry, take down the Lina, and now they look back for Lanham. Oh, magic missile catches Sylar, so he's not able to catch up. Now pressure onto him. The ward is still up. He's able to turn around Omni Slash. It is able to take down Inflame. He will go down, and Sylar is able to make it away to safety. Now they turn it onto ZYF, your Morphling, trying to make it away, morphing up strength. It's not going to be enough of all the people to get it. Ho ho ha ha, it's Maybe with a triple kill on his sniper. Unbelievable.
And it was exactly him who won in that fight. The Jug, I think it was an okay decision for EHOME to burst down the Jug. Yeah, he's an Aegis and he's coming back, but he's in a deep position at that point. All he can do is like throw an Omni Slash and kind of play defensively, but the sniper laying down the triple shrapnel in that fight, they couldn't run from the Jug when he respawned. They couldn't kite him around because the shrapnel slow was just too much, not to mention the damage output from it. It was not a bad fight for them. The Tide even got off a pretty good mech into Ravage. I guess the Ravage only caught, I think, 2 in the end, but from EHOME's point of view, it looked like it was a pretty well-executed defense. Just sniper, too strong with the shrapnel.
That's the thing. It's just, you know, they did lead in pretty solid. The thing is it didn't have sniper involved at all. I mean, he's way too far back. He's able to get off those big shrapnels. ROTK without a blink dagger can't, you know, make that jump to get a hold of sniper. He's just forced to walk in there, and he's just constantly in a good spot. You know, maybe he's just like, no problem. I'll just sit here and I'll pop, 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 and now you think you're making it go on Jug, but I'm still here popping away on you. And that's just the effect of your sniper. It's just that damage really creeps on you. And the next thing you know, you're like, oh, we forgot. We got to make sure we get sniper with these big ultimates, with these big stuns and setups. And we can't afford to let that happen again, because with that team fight already, I mean, it's not just LGD are back in the game. They've just taken the game to their favor. Now they push ahead just over 1K net worth, but the XP, that's where the biggest thing was. And now they're above 3K on the XP front.
Yeah, as far as farm goes, EHOME's still looking pretty decent. They're still in this game. I mean, 1,000 gold lead at this point is absolutely nothing. I don't even think you can really call that a lead most of the time, considering you're 18 minutes in. So, as far as farm goes, though, EHOME have it much more kind of widespread. It's not all concentrated to yours. Epicenter at top lane, they're going to catch out Yao with this. And the follow-up, I don't know if it's going to be enough damage. Yao gets down about half HP, but it's the Queen of Pain going for the sniper.
My God, they thought, I mean, Lanham did make the jump nice onto Yao, but I guess Queen of Pain saw the sniper and is like, this is the more valued target. He already has a little bit of a bounty. Let's get him down. She does get him down. It cost her own life, but it's a worthy trade, as it's going to be that bounty that certainly makes it more in EHOME's favor.
Yeah, it seems pretty decent as far as EHOME are concerned, so they'll now continue getting what they can elsewhere on the map. Morphling completed, Lincoln Sphere is up. And I feel like EHOME, their lineup is not exactly in its strongest point right now. It's about 4 or 5 minutes from now when they have the E-Blade Lincolns on Morphling and the Blink on Tide. That's when they're going to be reaching their peak, and that's going to be when they really want to try and fight. Until that point, it's stack your Ancients, farm efficiently, try take pickoffs here or there. I mean, you push towers if you feel it's safe, and with your big ultimates, maybe it is safe, but once they get this T1 tower, I don't imagine they stick around much longer.
They got to get back in a way. I think they just need to kind of get back into the farming grind and focus on what's important. Getting this Morphling his items together so that he can be a strong contender against this Jug and Sniper. Get ROTK that Blink Dagger, because, well, we saw what could happen in the mid lane if you can't get a hold of that pesky Sniper, and you need to be able to close that gap. And as you see as well, Lanham will even return to his own bits of farm. But already an answer to that pesky Ravage.
Wow.
Sylar just goes right for the BKB and has a complete.
I saw Sniper doing this with his Mithril Hammer, but the Jug going for BKB as well. And this is, I mean, this is the answer to the Ravage, well, the Tide as well as the Sanking, and even preemptively to a Morphling going Ethereal Blade, but it's not the item that generally your Jug wants to go this early, so it will slow down his farm. So in that point of view, yeah, right now it's maybe a 1,000 net worth lead for LGD, but they're not getting the best farming tool. They're getting defensive items which don't allow them to maximize their damage output necessarily in a fight. So I feel like this is kind of a move EHOME want to force them into, because especially if they can drag this game late, these BKBs being picked up this early are going to get kind of down to 5-second BKBs a lot faster than they otherwise would normally do so if they were picked up as like a 3rd or 4th item for your Juggernaut.
No, I certainly agree with that. The downside of being able to go right for these BKBs is that they're just not going to be as fruitful later into the game, and that's when you have a double Ravage in your face, and you're not going to be able to withstand both of them, and the setup's going to be initially there, and of course Queen of Pain, she can kind of shrug off the BKB, you know, with her low cooldown spells that normally would be blocked out from BKB, but her big Sonic Wave doesn't care regardless, and As she kind of farms it out here on the side, puts herself into a safe position, anticipating the movement coming their way. They got this nice aggressive ward over and deep into the territory, so they see where it's happening. They might have even seen the smoke. As it looks like everyone's just kind of waiting by the towers.
Yeah. They didn't see the smoke, but this ward in the enemy jungle, and they have a ward in their own jungle. They don't see LGD in LGD's jungle. They don't see them in EHOME's jungle. This is about as obvious as it gets that the smoke just happened based on their vision. So the fact they have both these two fantastic wards in the top and bottom jungle means they can read LGD's movement around the map really well. Even when they don't see the smoke itself. They can just kind of put 2 and 2 together. We've got Queen of Pain hiding in the trees, and the rest of the team just grouped up.
They did find a replicate. It looked like he was almost going to be going for the Omni Slash there, but they canceled everything out. They take it down, and EHOME happy to see that their game sense was correct, and just by deduction, not noticing any LGD home or member anywhere nearby, they just waited patiently, and they're going back to farming. The aggression is definitely turned down a little bit here from EHOME. They had their one big fight debuting their Blink Daggers, and now they just want to get back to farming where it's important and wait out and stall out this Aegis, more importantly. It's got probably... Actually, is it already down? Was it already used? It must have already been used.
Yeah, it was the Juggernaut at mid lane when they jumped that mid-tier 1 fight. Yeah.
That is right, that is right. Well, they're just going to continue to itemize regardless and just stall things out. Split push here and there with Inflame in that top lane being a bit of a nuisance, but they have time on their side. If they have to stall things out a bit, they'll go for it.
Yeah, I think they want to wait for that E-Blade. The first team fight we see probably around... At some point, I guess Morphlin can look just for pickoffs with his E-Blade. It's going to be interesting, because that's when LGD are going to kind of use these 10-second BKBs for the first time, but EHOME can still fight around that. They may get the jump with like a Burrow Strike for forcing them BKBs. The E-Blade can force someone to use a BKB earlier than they would like to, and that's one of the really nice things about a Morphling E-Blade. If you just throw that at a Sniper or something, or a Juggernaut at the start of a fight, they're forced to either Blade Fury or BKB in the case of the Jug, or Sniper may have to BKB when he's not using it to fight, and then you just back off and wait for the BKBs to expire.
Yeah. Plus, it certainly doesn't hurt just having it defensively when you're going against something like an Omni Slash or just the heavy physical burst of a Sniper. So it's all in the up and up for him. He just needs to kind of focus on getting a hold of that Eagle Song first and foremost. So he'll continue farming up here. He's got ROTK nearby. That Blink Dagger is now complete. And I just imagine from here he'll just start building the components towards a refresher so he can really take advantage. But the thing is like, yeah, they got these BKBs early, and it is risky that you'll be down to 5 seconds sooner than you'd like. But if there are no fights really happening, you don't have to really worry about not using your BKB. So there is kind of a point where if EHOME want to punish them for getting early BKBs, they kind of do need to fight and make them use them. So I'm curious when that time's going to be.
Maybe this next Roshan. It's now respawned, scattered out by LGD. It feels like if EHOME just wait, sit back, farm up this E-Blade on Morphling, if they lose that first fight around, like, what, their Blink, Ravage, Epicenter, and their Morphling E-Blade, because they could easily lose that. LGD are going to have triple BKB and potentially your Aegis on their side. With how fast LGD took Roshan last time, we could see the same thing happen again. It just could just straight up be game over.
Oh, Inflame. They kind of hesitate a bit. They drop down... Maybe thinking it could have been a replicate or not, but the smokes did pop this time. Okay, Burrow, they're going for maybe. That's a beautiful, beautiful Ravage setup. Now the BKBs have to come out, but already both supports go down. Yao's going to be the next one. Quickly 3 drop. Sniper able to kind of etch himself out of the trouble. Oh, they don't catch him. He was able to BKB and TP back home. And with that, EHOME just segue right into the Roche pit. Beautifully set up there. They scout out maybe on the back end side, set up with the Burrow, and then ROTK. That's why we need to get a Blink Dagger. He hops right into the meat of the fight and drops down a huge Ravage before any BKB could happen.
Yeah, that was so nice. And even I think the Sniper who got his BKB off doesn't get hit. It's all the supporting crew. You need the Lina alive to burst down the hero with Laguna Blade. You don't want to be having everyone hit by it as it just was. And now the BKB is down to 9 seconds, and every fight like that really hurts LGD, not just for the gold exchange, but because those BKBs getting shorter and shorter, and that's going to be crucial as this game drags on. And on the EHOME side, you're picking up those big late game items. Your E-Blade comes up, your Queen of Pain's got 2.5k gold. Across the board, there's a lot of farm up, and here we go. ZYF, he's hunting, and maybe could be in some trouble here. He's got the Mask of Madness on. He could go for this kill, but doesn't seem like that's his idea. He's even got the replicate to get out of there, should he need to.
Yeah, your classic hit and run. jump in, the shotgun shot, and then you just kind of have that getaway car in your replicate to go back to a different lane. And he's not going to see the opportunity, or at least not a good enough opportunity. He decides to pull back, goes back to farm up. But top lane, Lanham, who's just sitting here in Sandstorm, he better be quick on the trigger finger, and he will be. The wave flies out. It actually almost looks like it would have possibly connected onto him, but he's able to blink away. And, well, that's going to be a bit of a lost opportunity for LGD to get a pick on their Sand King.
LGD now, that they were kind of, that was meant to be, I guess, in some ways their Roshan. They had the double BKB, they were close to their third BKB on Night Stalker. They smoked aggressively to try and get that pick off and then move into the Roshan pit, but it backfired with EHOME just getting off that big team fight. So that really kind of sets them back as far as their strategy moving forward was get a pick off, take Roshan, and then probably take tier 2 towers. Even against the big teamfight ultimates, they could take objectives just using the sniper range and using the fact they had that Aegis to protect one of their core heroes. But now they find themselves in a position where they have no real way to take objectives. All they can do is sit back and try to stall out the Aegis and try not get picked apart by this Morphling E-Blade.
What are we getting here? Oh, okay. It looks like a sheepstick is what's going to be in order here for your Queen of Pain. That's what I was kind of hoping to see. I mean, her being able to get instantly in there, get the quick sheep off, you might be able to get a quick amount of burst with your Morphling and take either the Jug or the Sniper down before BKB can even be thought of. So, anticipating that they just need an extra bit of that insta-CC seems to be a good choice. And, well, with that, Inflame's getting pretty close to it. Towards top lane, maybe just goes back to his farming grind. He's got a Yasha for now. I anticipate maybe just completing out the S and Y, getting a bit more stats, a bit more life. Certainly doesn't hurt. And Yao has also been able to finish out a BKB on his Night Stalker now. So not really going to be adding a lot to the damage front, and this will prolong his probably hopeful Agnum Scepter a bit longer. You know, that's really why this Night Stalker is just able to add so much to the team. And it's just being able to control the darkness and prevent EHOME from having easy initiation. And it looks like that's just going to have to wait a little bit longer.
Definitely still at a point where execution could lead to a good team fight for LGD. Even with the Aegis on this Radiant side, they time these BKBs and use them well in a fight and get kind of the lockdown on someone like a Queen of Pain or even just the Tidehunter. With an Omni Slash and you BKB at the right time, Tide will go down from full to nothing. Just going to be very careful with Jug up to level 17, picking up the Skull Basher now as well. So far from a decisive lead for EHOME, but definitely a lead right now. GoDz aside, they've got many more options as far as how to play things moving forward. Right now they're splitting the map. They've got the Queen of Pain pushing out the top lane, the Morphling the mid lane, and then the supporting cast kind of sitting behind the Morphling, trying to see if LGD get too aggressive so that they could find a pick off.
ROTK, he'll continue his farm here on the Ancients. He already has an Oblivion Staff, and he's quickly on way to finishing out the Perseverance. Next thing you know, we got a refresher on our hands here, and LGD, we'll have to see if they're going to be ready for it with this. Oh, hold on a second. Yao is going to cross pass him with Morphling. Blink in. Nice BKB, though, is going to stop the Burrow Strike, and now they look for Lanham. They're going to catch him with the Assassinate, and now he's got to find a way to get out. Just will simply Sandstorm up and back off as Morphling's still here. They get the pullback. There's the shotgun shot, and now they just follow it up with the Burrow Strike and quickly take him down. It's EHOME who are able to kind of get the bloodshed here, as it was very flirty back and forth, but ultimately, they get what they want. Hao goes down, and it does also cost them a BKB charge on top of it. Yao, sorry, not Hao.
Yao, I think, kind of forgot that. Like, once that BKB wears off, you're paper. You may be a Night Stalker, and in the lane stage, one of the tankiest heroes there is, but at this stage of the game, that shotgun, that Blink Fire Strike is going to tear you apart. Oof. And we have got Yao now, RTK now, like, aggressively zoning out heroes away from these towers. I'll take a T2 tower, and EHOME going from tier 2 to tier 2, not really, even with the Aegis, not really in a position to breach high ground yet. I feel like they're at least one more item away in a Morphling. If Morphling had like a Skadi or a Manta Style on top of his current items and another Aegis, then you'd be considering high ground, but with just the E-Blade Lincolns, this is not really your best pushing items for Morphling, so they'll go for the last tier 2 tower on the map.
Wave uphill, they see ROTK, he just walks past him, maybe he's trying to impersonate a replicant, but oh, a huge three-man burrow from Lanham, and there's a quick shotgun shot to take down the sniper. It looks like MY is going to go down next. Yao could be in trouble here. A beautiful start here for EHOME, but here comes Sylar. Now BKB'd, he's able to move on forward, get the kill, taking down the Rubik, but it's Lanham who's still in pursuit. There's another adaptive strike, and it finishes off your Night Stalker. Triple kill for ZYF. And now it's going to be EHOME who pressure this mid lane. They didn't even Yeah, that was just
sick fire strike.
Oh my god. What a play. It was a mini Ravage.
Yeah, he hit more with his stun than ROTK did. ROTK got 2 in his Ravage. That was a good Ravage, but it was the Burrow Strike. That was the real Ravage of that fight, and now they will break the high ground. With 3 heroes on the sidelines, they'll force Sylar back, and Sylar without a BKB, all he can do is kind of fall back to the Blade Fury to maybe get away from the E-Blade of ZYF.
He's just like, oh, I want to do something about this, but I can't, and now this could be a replicate even, and it looks like it just could be the first racks down, possibly the first set. There's a magic missile, not really going to be connecting as they pop out the mech, and now it's just EHOME on the retreat. And with that, LGD, they're going to take their first crushing blow rather inside the baselines. And it's EHOME, man, who just continue to look that much more dominant this game. And this is a very different EHOME LGD squad as opposed to the last time these two teams faced. Last time it was just boxing gloves were all, actually not even boxing gloves, they were just bare knuckle brawling. But this time, maybe it is boxing gloves. Things seem a lot more technical. And
oh yeah,
it's working out very well.
This is looking like a much more polished EHOME squad, and just a great kind of rivalry and matchup. ROTK and Xiaowei, these two captains have been captaining some of the best squads in China for some time. Even going back to TI4, it was these two captains in that grand final. They know each other well. They kind of have a good read on how each other play. So one day it may be Xiaowei getting the best of ROTK, but give it a few days, ROTK will figure out a plan and bounce back, and that's what's happening here, at least in Game 1. This is a best-of-5 series, and that's where things are going to get really interesting moving forward in this series, is how the teams will adapt their drafts, their play styles, and how they'll mix things up as they kind of either fall behind in the series or even get ahead. Right now it's looking like EHOME with a melee racks advantage in a good position to take this Game 1.
And now we'll see ZYF continue to pressure through the bottom lane here with his big recent victory. He's able to throw together a Mantis style, and now his slow sieging tactics get that much better. His damage gets that much greater. And they're just in really good standing to kind of control the majority of this map and get a lot out of it. Inflame will continue to work with his top lane game. Land him nearby. He's got his mobility tools complete. Blink Force is all ready to go. ROTK, well, did he finish it out? He's got it. Oh, man, that is a refresher orb. And it had been nerfed down not too long ago. You know, it costs a bit more mana, I believe. But it doesn't matter. The potency is still there. 2 Ravages, obviously greater than 1. And we've already seen him and Lanham do tremendous amounts of work, setting up the fight, leading it with good initiation. And just maybe a matter of time before EHOME look to kind of put a lid on this game, and it's pressure on LGD to fall back on what plan B might be. But the nice thing for them is they have a sniper. And how many games have we seen that sniper can just find a nice little nook in the base, and next thing you know, he's pulling back big wins, and then you have that whole comeback and rebound factor. They're not out of this one quite yet. In fact, they're going to smoke up and go a bit aggressive here.
I think worried about Roshan, which could have respawned any time within the last 60 seconds. It hasn't done so just yet. It's a fairly long Roche respawn, but they're coming and making a move towards the pit, worried about what EHOME are up to, and not going to find anyone in the pit, but maybe this Radiant Jungle's where they'll find a pickup. But they are smoking into that Refresher Tidehunter. Could be a recipe for disaster if they don't get the BKBs off and get those quick early pickoffs.
Well,
fortunately for them, they see no one, and they're going to check Roshan, but nothing's in the pit.
Still got what looks like almost a minute or so until it's up. They're going to use the replicate there from ROTK to kind of scout it out, and they know that they're nearby, and now it is a smoked up EHOME squad who they might cut them off on the way out if they go this high ground road.
Oh, yeah.
And it looks like they are. Oh, man, this is a beautiful drawn plan to catch LGD on their back end side. And ROTK creeps forward. Big Ravage will connect, but a good time Blade Fury will help out with Sylar. Not so much for Xiaowei, however. Yao's able to get his off there at the end. They end up shooting down the Vengeful Spirit. Now it is a man fight between Sylar and ZYF. Omni-Slash flies out. His Lincoln's is going to be popped, but he is very weak and wounded, and he's able to get him down. ROTK could drop thereafter, and here comes Maybe dishing out the pot shots. His AK-47 starts just cleaning house, and it's only 2 remaining survivors here from EHOME, and they got to get the hell out.
That's huge.
Oh, what
that's
went
Roche
wrong
as well.
so quick? Oh,
they
man.
just gotta stick around. Wait for it, LGD. Wait for it. They'll leave the healing ward in there. I think they'll scout Roshan. There it goes. It respawns as the Jug TP back to base, unfortunately, but they've still got 45 seconds. Yeah, they're going to get to work on this Roche. Jug's already making a beeline towards the pit. Big team fight, and I think it's just another fight. You look at the big team fight that EHOME won last time, it's the Sand King initiating. Not to say that, I mean, Sand King at a 3-hero Burrow Strike was a great play from Lamb, but Sand King as initiator is just a more reliable initiator because he can hit the stuns before the BKBs come out. Ravage has a travel time. You can dodge it. Both Night Stalker and the Juggernaut both dodged that first Ravage. Only a Vengeful Spirit got caught in it, and that didn't cut it. He didn't even get the second Ravage off. He popped a refresher, but then he had mana problems. He used the mech in the fight. He used an Anchor Smash, and as a result, he didn't have mana for a second Ravage, and he has to wait to use it because he has to wait for the BKBs to expire, so... Does feel like Sand King's maybe the one they want initiating and having the Tide Ravage to follow things up.
That hurts, though. EHOME were in a nice position up to that point, and with that, LGD quickly just turned this game right back around. So now you can see the early dip as it just kind of starts at about a 10k net worth advantage here for EHOME, but XP is only 5k, and LGD, they're in a really good standing. The cheese is going to be handed off here, so maybe it looks like Aegis in the hands of Sylar. No real surprises about that, but yeah, I have to agree with you. I mean, RGK pops in, and you know it's just your Tidehunter. He's kind of got to do that little bit of a dance, and then slowly the Ravage flies out from the nucleus of it, if you will, and with that, it just took one quick button press of a Blade Fury, and things quickly turn right back around. And it's another one of those cases where they don't see where the sniper is or don't quite get a hold of him, and he ends up being in a good spot to kind of just dish out all serious amounts of damage. And it's EHOME who slowly are withered away. And
I think the other big thing is it was nighttime. So Yao actually, I don't know if I think he saw EHOME before EHOME actually got vision in bottom lane. With that nighttime vision, that did give LGD a bit of an advantage. That's one of the big reasons why Night Stalker is picked up, because so many teams use their smokes and fight around nighttime. And even a Night Stalker without an Acceptor can still give you that vision advantage at night, which I believe may have been the case during that fight.
Structures are fortified.
It's a big thing to be able to really manipulate here and have that Night Stalker on your team. And, well, with that, here comes a little bit of split push slow siege from your Morphling. You know, this almost feels like the plan B for EHOME if things don't progress as well as they'd like. They could always just kind of have this Morphling do a little bit extra split push, keep LGD pressured across the map, and stall things out. And that his Aegis can't really be utilized in the way LGD would like to. So you can see now Landon pressuring this top lane. Inflame's just going to be waiting in the trees a bit here, maybe hoping that someone could kind of come by at their own little lonesome and just try to push out the lanes themselves. But that opportunity is not going to really be there. And this is just looking like a nice little run back here for LGD. Abyssal Blade now in hand for Sylar. This is a big item grab, and he's got about 3,300 gold on top of it. He's getting grossly farmed as he's about to catch up with ZYF's Morphling. They're both at about 19, 20k of net worth.
Oh yeah, so we'll see how things can progress. The other big kind of spell / item we didn't get to see used too well last time was the Hex, the Queen of Pain Hex. Another thing which can, in theory, counter the BKBs. If you get a jump with someone with a Blink Hex, you can make sure that the Ravage hits them because they can't pop the BKB while they're Hexed. You can then chain stun versus down, but just wasn't to be. This time around, EHOME just continues to split push. While this Aegis is up, they say, we don't really want a team fight. Morphling gets some good damage to the tier 3 bottom, then he goes top. Both tier 3 towers still standing, down to around half HP or lower, so this is just nice play coming out from your Morphling. This has just been a stellar Morphling performance. This is, from the get-go, this has been really solid, and I think we're going to be seeing more Morphling as a carry, just because of how well he does match up against the Jug, the Trolls, the Snipers with his huge armor. He's sitting on 29 armor right now, just from stats alone. That is one of the better ways of dealing with physical damage.
ZYF has been very impressive through this bracket so far. It's been very few and far between performances where he hasn't really been able to step up. And you know, I hear the first character means fairies, but there's nothing sweet and innocent about this guy. He can definitely bring some serious pain. And we're seeing it here as the slow siege begins to come out. He'll work with the top lane a bit, then go back to bottom, then back to top. And he does have to worry to not be too predictable, because then you have situations like this where LGD are trying to catch him, you know, as he's trying to get these side pushes happening. And they would love to be able to get a snag onto him. And okay, they do spot him out, but he's just a little too far, and it's not like Zhao Wei has that big of a swap. He is able to make it out, but that could, you know, get him a bit curious as far as not being too reckless in his split pushing.
I think the big thing for the Morphling this game is he can push all he wants as long as he's got a Replicate up. There is nothing to catch him out. There's no Hex, there's no Silence. I mean, there's a Night Stalker, but for Night Stalker to run up and get a Silence off on the Morphling, he can instantly Manta it and then still Replicate out. So as long as he's got a Replicate up, I don't really see any way this Morphling can die when he's solo split pushing until there's like a Scythe of Ice or something that comes out for LGD. And who's building a Scythe of Ice this game? I don't really see a good target to do so. So this is looking like a Morphling that if he doesn't want a team fight, no problem, because there is no answer to his split push. He's just going to keep on farming until he gets 6 slotted. He's going to chip away at the tier 3 towers and just cause all sorts of problem on the map if LGD try and 5-man.
Yeah, this is starting to bring me back to the days of casting the TI4 Quals and Lakel's Morphling, where it's just like, if things just don't continue to go in a way where you can make big team fights happen and have the upper hand there, then that's fine. We'll fall back on this. We'll split push, we'll siege, and, you know, you're damn right. What are they going to do about it? As long as he has that kind of, you know, ejector seat and a replicate to get away, they don't have really enough to shut him down. And with just what LGD have and have drafted for themselves, it's going to be a very interesting what kind of answer they're going to have for it. Unless ZYF just kind of makes a bit of a misstep or overthrows a bit, it's going to be very difficult for LGD to deal with it here. But here we go. It's now EHOME on the move. They smoke up as they're going to head through the secret shop side. We'll see if they have an opportunity to make a jump onto LGD. But for now, at least, LGD are very much corralled inside their own base.
They'll know LGD's next move is going to be coming bottom lane to push things out, deal with the Morphling split push. So they set up a high ground ward. They'll see LGD come. They actually go in. They initiate bottom lane. Ravage on a couple. They're going to refresh that one. Sniper and Night Stalker both BKB, but it's a buyback immediately from your Lena. He wants to turn this fight around, but LGD pushed back, forced the buybacks out, and it's a good, clean initiation from EHOME to get a couple of pickoffs.
Yeah, that's what they wanted, but Siler wants more. He moves on forward. He gets immediate bash, another bash, and the Abyssal. Is this a Troll Warlord I'm seeing here, for God's sakes? Well, he's able to move in, get the Omni Slash off. Big damage still, but he quickly morphs up a bit of strength. Quickly shoots up to about 5k of HP. And it's LGD just trying to get something on the way back. They might be able to get the Morphling still after taking down Lanham. Goes out the quick, adaptive, hits Yao. He has the replicate. He wants to go away here. Can he get it out? He's getting stunned. He goes down. He can't get away. And LGD come out big, taking him down.
Seems the team fight just doesn't work. The Jug just getting too massive. Like, you go on that Morphling, even if you don't kill him, like, right away, the fact he has to morph to full strength and go up to 5k HP means he can't really fight too well. He doesn't do damage. His E-Blade does next to nothing. He becomes that strength-style Morphling where he can have 4-second stuns, but he's their damage for the most part. If anything, EHOME just need to entirely just fall back on the split push and not go for those kinds of risky team fights. That was a Rubik blinking into initiate. It started off okay with the 2 kills, but the ensuing team fight was disaster. Jug, just massive. Also a great pickup with the Blink Dagger. This is the item you need. I was thinking, like, what's going to help him out against this Morphling Queen of Pain? How do you deal with the split push? And it is going to be, and Blink Dagger is the only way. Jug has to be the initiator, like a Blink Abyssal Blade. That's going to be how they start up a fight.
With that, they're able to follow up by taking down that tier 2 in the bottom lane. Looks like they thought for a moment about going towards the high ground as the Morphling, who does not have a buyback and was out for about another 30 seconds. They decide instead to kind of pull back and away. Maybe credit to Inflame, who had been keeping up the pressure there in that top lane. He's kind of picking up where the Morphling is maybe not here and ready to go. He's also doing his own bit of work, getting out that split push pressure. And it looks like he himself, he's got a Ghost Scepter at least for now. Maybe just defensive measures towards Sylar and Sniper with their huge amounts of physical damage. Now
I think he wants a refresher. He just picked up an Oblivion Staff, and this is like what Pycat was really rushing the refresher when he would play Queen of Pain, getting it like as his 2nd or 3rd item after like a Scythe with an like a Scythe Ag refresher or something. But great item when you've got the Hex, because you get 2 Hexes, but more importantly, well, just as importantly, you get 2 Sonic Waves in quick succession. So that's a huge portion of your damage when you're against all these BKBs. You want that Sonic Wave in a team fight. And having 2 with a refresher gives you a lot.
The dream setup here for EHOME, a lead-in burrow to lock in as many as possible, follow up 2 Ravages, dishing out both Sonic Waves, and all the meanwhile you have ZYF just kind of there to shotgun blast 1 and right-click the rest down. LGD, don't want to allow them to get that kind of opportunity, but here comes more of those luxurious items. That Refresher Orb now complete and in hand for Inflame, and on the other side, maybe he's got an MKB now complete here. And it's not like we're seeing a Butterfly quite yet on your Morphling, but that's still bits of mini bash and hard-hitting damage. They actually just kind of do-side-do around each other in this mid lane. As they head up to the woods here, you see LGD heading out the south side.
And once that smoke wears off, EHOME have got to realize they've lost the vision advantage. There's a Night Stalker with an Axe. They see everything right now.
Sylar just kind of put off a bit by seeing him. Will blink forward with the remainder of that Blade Fury, and yeah, he gets the Abyssal connection onto Lanham, but the quick Yules is there, able to burrow, get to the high ground. Yao with his BKB pop, looking to turn the corner. There's ZYF. It's a bit fickle here, but okay. Yao Wade is down. He just gets decimated there with the shot. And now quickly LGD are on the retreat. They'll look to get away from this one. EHOME are not quick enough to be able to catch anyone, but hey.
Very awkward fight for both. I mean, both teams, and LGD had the, like, EHOME smoke messed up, and then like, okay, we can't really keep fighting because LGD have a Night Stalker, they'll see us coming, but then LGD, when they tried to fight, didn't quite get that clean initiation with the Jug Blink Dagger, so ended up just not really leading to too much. And Roshan respawning this fast is going to go the way of EHOME. Or at least it looks like they're going for it, but here come LGD.
Okay, jumping on in. Sylar with his BKB preemptively popped here. ROTK, he can't dish out the Ravage quite yet. They're going to have to wait through for the Omni Slash. Now we'll pop it out, but the Blade Fury comes right thereafter. Refresher going to be popped right now as Inflame still trying to make the way. ROTK steps back, gets the Gush kill. Here's Sonic Wave #1 to fly on out. As they do take down Sylar, he immediately buys back to this. DDC even getting in on the action with his Soul and Blade Fury. There's the Sonic Wave #2, and it secures a double kill for Inflame. They're able to quickly get the last pick right there, taking down MMY, and they look to move into the pit and finish what they had started. Sylar, who did buy back, he unfortunately just can't look to get involved, and this is a big pickup for EHOME. They win that fight, they get the sniper down, they get the Aegis, and they even force out the buyback from the Jug. Now they just kind of head their way towards the LGD baseline.
Yep. They're going for another lane of Rax, I think. Wolfling, he's stuck in the trees. There we go. Gets full stuffed out. With Ravage, they've still got one Ravage. They've still got an Epicenter. They've still got big ultis to go. Just the Sonic Wave missing. They're going for that second lane of Rax, knowing that there's limited buybacks. Juggernaut's down to a 5-second BKB, and this is really the problematic part of this stage of the game. All the BKBs on LGD's side, they're down to 5 seconds. As soon as these fights start getting extended, that's where Tide Hunter, Sanka can have much bigger impact now because of these short BKBs.
And suddenly, Raxes are down here in the top lane. And that is 2 all day, and they're going right for the third here, guys. They want the Megas, and they want to make a good start to this series and lead in with a victory. Game #1 of this best-of-5, but LGD, they're going to go out swinging. Moving on forward, Yao going to pop his BKB, gets the silence on the ROTK, and can't offer a whole lot after that. Zhao Wei just gets annihilated once more. Yao very low, going to get healed up, looking to go back in. Here comes Sylar, BKB popped, and there's ROTK, forced staffing away from trouble. Rax is exposed. It's very tempting to try to finish it here and now as an Epi flies in from Lanham and the Ravage follow-up. That's got to be game, and it is. LGD, they tap out, and it's EHOME who are going to be securing game #1 in this best-of-5 final for the Summit 3 China. Unbelievable.
Well, it's the team from the lower bracket coming through strong. And we mentioned the BKBs getting down to 5 seconds. I think the other big items that came up in those last few fights was just Ghost Scepters. Your Tide having a Ghost Scepter. Your supports on the Queen of Pain also had a Ghost Scepter. That Omni Slash wasn't doing as much damage. Inside the pit, the Tide and the Morphling in that last Roche fight, E-Blade on Morphling, Ghost Scepter on Tide, that Omni Slash didn't do anywhere near as much damage as it should have, and they just dealt with the Juggernaut by sheer itemization.
It was wonderfully executed. It looked like for a moment there, LGD were in good standing when they took that big fight and the Roche and the tower, but EHOME holds strong, man, and they execute beautifully. And, well, that's just game #1, so I don't want to waste too much time here. Let's go ahead and get into game 2 action. That'll be coming up in just a few moments. I'm KotLGuy, that's GoDz. You're watching Beyond the Summit and the Summit 3 China Finals. We'll be right back. Please, sit tight.